Welcome to the Adulting Podcast. I'm Zach Peter, a naturally platinum blonde podcaster, author, and sassy self-improvement addict spewing all those burning questions you're too afraid to ask.
And I'm Abigail Fraher, an unfiltered boss babe, daylighting as a lifestyle guru, stirring the pot on social issues. We're here to help you look cute,
live well,
work hard,
and stay woke.
Together,
let's conquer adulting. Welcome to Adulting, everybody. I'm Zach Peter.
And I'm Abigail Fraher.
How you doing?
How's it going? How are you holding up after this week?
I'm freezing. But it was a wild week. It was kind of interesting watching everybody's, everyone like sitting glued to their TV and phone screens waiting for the election results, and we're finally here on the other end of it, on the other side of it. Well,
I thought you did such a good job, though, of like balancing it, because I was like watching your stories and I'm like, this motherfucker is taking a break from the TV. Like, I'm so proud of you. I wish I had the willpower to to do that, because I was like coffee to wine, man. I was in front of that TV like for 72 hours straight.
I would check in every once in a while just to be like, okay, do we have an answer yet? Do we have an update yet? And we didn't get an update until like Saturday morning. And it was like, okay, we finally at least have some sort of, something that we can be happy about and celebrate.
right. No, I know. It was such a interesting election. I still don't really believe it. Like, I still am not going to believe it until like Trump says something.
I'm glad you've said that, because I feel like we should absolutely celebrate the moment and be happy, but like we also need to navigate. And I'm the eternal optimist on this show, that if I'm saying this, like,
you are.
I want people to like navigate your expectations, because this seemingly seems like it's gonna check out, but like at this point, the current president that we have, like, it's so. You don't know what we don't know what's going to happen with the lawsuits. I mean, we still have until December 14th to get the full electoral college vote. Not only that, but we don't know what's going to happen come January 20th when Biden is supposed to be, taking over. It's such uncharted territory, but for today, we have a win. It's a good, step in the right direction that we can celebrate and just make sure, we keep the momentum going.
And now it's like time to like figure out what the fuck Biden's going to do and like hold him accountable as well. Like, I feel like we're just getting started with the pressure, but
that's one thing. I'm glad you said that, because I feel like we've seen this happen in history so many times where we think we've won. And then we're like, okay, cool, let's take a back seat. We good. And it's like, no, just because the candidate that we wanted has made it into office doesn't mean we stop holding these people accountable. It also means like we continue to do the work every day. We continue to show up and educate ourselves and make sure that we
100%.
hold our local politicians to a high standard and make sure we hold them accountable as well.
Right. I've seen like so many like memes of like, oh, we're going back to old school racism. Thank God. Like, we need to focus on how we're going to correct things now. Like, okay, we hit that wall. Now, like, how are we going to so go from there too?
Exactly. The things that happened while Donald Trump was president aren't just like, they haven't disappeared. Like these racial inequality issues, and there are so many issues within our culture that still need work, that we still need to make sure we're showing up for.
100%.
I get it. These days, it can be hard to find the time to sit down and learn more. It's not easy when the likes of social media can be so addictive, so you may think that you don't have time to develop yourself, but now there's an app for that, and it's called Blinkist. Blinkist is for anyone who cares about learning but doesn't have a lot of time, like me. Blinkist takes the key ideas and insights from over 4,000 nonfiction bestsellers in more than 27 categories and gathers them together in 15-minute recaps. Use the blinks to get into topics quickly or find new topics to grow from. You can even do it for podcasts. 15 million people are already using Blinkist to broaden their knowledge. I'm a self-help junkie, and I like Blinkist because instead of spending hours listening to audiobooks, I get straight to the core of it in less than 15 minutes. I know on my list this week is Mark Manson's Everything is Fucked, a book about hope, which has been on my list forever but hasn't made it into my schedule until now. Right now, Blinkist has a special offer just for our audience. Go to Blinkist.com/adulting to start your free 7-day trial and get 25% off a Blinkist premium membership. That's Blinkist, spelled Blinkist, Blinkist.com/adulting to get 25% off and a 7-day free trial. Blinkist.com/adulting.
How was like your reactions like on your socials? Like, because I feel like my social is very in line, I guess, with my belief system, but then I always have like these outliers from like home. And I'm like, how was your social media after?
Mine was fine. I didn't post as much about it because, like you said, I wasn't. Once it's safe to like really relish in the moment, like I'll
Inauguration day, baby.
Inauguration day,
turn the fuck up.
Inauguration day, I will be ready for it because, like, you know, I've been just listening to a variety of different podcasts and reading as many articles, and you know, some people are like, no, it's gonna be a cock block, and Nancy Pelosi is gonna be interim president, or no, Donald Trump's gonna end up winning with his lawsuits, and you know, so many people have so many different theories as to what's gonna happen. And I think again, it's good to celebrate, but it's not good to fall asleep right now. I think if anything, I've learned so much about politics and our system more than I ever have, which is like, you know, definitely a win for me.
Because we're living such a weird time where you almost have to know those things. Just with the Supreme Court, I'm a little bit terrified because they would end up, I guess, having the final say, and they're very heavily Republican.
I just feel like even the Republicans at this point, like you said in previous episodes, even the Republicans at this point are tired of Donald Trump.
Right.
But I think everybody, you know, it's so crazy though to see him. Like, I'll just say this, Donald Trump is not going away. Like, Donald Trump is here to stay, and he's going to continue to cause havoc and chaos within our country. And that's why, like, we need to, it's nice to see so many Republicans rejecting him, because we need to, like, keep that momentum going, because I think he's really going to go off the deep end.
That was my next question. I was like, do you think he's just going to like disappear?
No.
Or do you think he's going to find like an alternative role? Okay.
He's not going to, he's not moving out.
Scary.
He's not moving out of the US. He's already talked about wanting to launch his own media something, because he believes that the news right now is all fake news. Right. So he wants to launch his own sort of media empire. There are 70 million people that still voted for this man that will go
watch
and support
right.
that. Yeah. So on Netflix, there's the documentary, I think it's called The American Dream, and it's a 4-part documentary on Donald Trump from when he first got into business to when he became president. And I was kind of just watching that, and I didn't think I could dislike him any more than I did before, because I remember I was listening to a podcast and this one woman was saying she was hardcore Democrat, and watching that documentary is what flipped her to become such a Trump supporter. So I always like to play devil's advocate and like to be the skeptic. So I'm like, let me watch this to see what it was that flipped her. And then I watched it and I'm like, I don't know how any of this made her think that this is a great man at all. If anything, it made me realize that this pompous arrogance wasn't something that he got
created for his
became
role.
Yeah, it didn't just happen because he became president. It's been who he's always been for the past several decades.
The whole thing's just crazy. And like everyone's like, oh, COVID's going to be taken care of, da da da. It's like, bitch, we got 3 more months before it's taken care of. Like, what? I don't know. And it's getting worse. I actually just got a text message for the city of New York that we're in a dangerous situation again.
See, but like we need to also navigate our fears with that, because the place that we're in today compared to the place that we thought we were going to be in back in March, like we need to be willing to be like, okay, we got really scared and we shut everything down, and then we realized it wasn't what we expected it to be, so we need to pivot from there. All of the models that we got back in March ended up not being true, and so we need to be like, okay, we need to figure out how to navigate this from the understanding that we have today, and not just go back into this
100%.
fear mode, because I think when we
into lockdown, right?
Well, not even just lockdown, but I just think this fear mode that people have, like when you're coming from a place of fear, your rationale goes out the window, and we definitely shouldn't stop washing our hands. We shouldn't stop taking precautions. We should continue to be
clean,
smart.
People.
Stay clean. If 2019 was not your year to be clean, if you were Courtney loving it up, then like we need to pivot and make sure we're, you know, taking precautions still, but also, you know, understanding. Like what I'm saying is don't go stock up and buy all the damn toilet paper again.
Oh, 100%. But keep washing your hands and like
Keep
wear your
washing your
mask when
hands.
you're in public. I don't know. We'll see. We'll see. Did you get into any arguments with anybody during or after?
Not really. Well, actually, not really. There was okay. So there was
Whenever
one.
you make that face, I know there's more of a story to it. So please spill.
No, there was one woman that like went into our community chat and she was being a Karen and I was like, putting her on check. But I did have an interesting conversation with somebody on Facebook. I think it was yesterday because she posted this like meme about how she, her life hasn't necessarily been changed because of the election and it's so disappointing for her to see so many people coming in this place where they are fighting. And this other woman decided to jump in and, she was like, well, that's nice of you to say, that's a nice sentiment, but you're also a privileged white woman that can, continue to live your life with blinders on. And I did jump
Right.
into that conversation a little bit as well. And there wasn't too much sparring, but I just feel like I don't like to see the division in our country. And I don't like to see one thing that I loved about Biden's speech the other day was how he's like, I don't care
Oh,
if you
it's
voted for
wonderful.
me or you voted for Trump or if you're a Democrat or you're a Republican. Like, I didn't come into office to only represent the people that agree with me. I came into office to represent everybody in America. And I feel like that is a leader. That is somebody that is setting the example for how we should all be living our lives right now.
100%. I feel like Facebook though is like the place to get in fights. Like I feel like it's created just to get in fights. Like I don't ever get in fights with anyone on Instagram. I don't ever get in like quarrels. I think you can be like fairly conversationally disagreeing on Instagram, but like Facebook's, oh my God, Zach. So I went out and got like a margarita on Saturday.
Facebook is the back alley of social media.
It's disgusting.
It's where you go to throw down.
I was scrolling through like as I'm drinking my margarita, and this girl like posted. Of course, it's a girl I went to high school with. She like posted about how she's like not going to give up her guns. She's not going to give up her rights. Like she's not going to pay for like lazy people that don't want to work. Like it was this whole like spiel about basically what she's not going to do now that Biden's president. And someone commented underneath, like, so what are you going to do if the cops show up and demand you give them your guns? And it's like she's also like pro blue, like an anti-black, I would assume, because she makes a point of saying like I'm pro blue. I didn't insult her personally, other than saying like, well, I did, but I said you're a hillbilly, and I then like stated like how things aren't going to change and like do understand how the Senate and the House works and all these things, right? Then I apologized. I was like, you know what? I shouldn't have used the term hillbilly. I'm sorry. That was wrong. Like, I don't want to cause like division. So then all these other girls I went to high school with ganged up on me. And they were like calling me names, saying like shit about my face and my Botox and my body, and saying that I like fuck for money. And it was just like a lot. It was like super, super aggressive. And so then like one of my guy friends from high school like jumped in and was like, what are you guys doing? Like tearing her apart? Like she wasn't tearing you apart. She was making a political statement. I don't know. Facebook's just a crazy shit show, and I haven't been on it since then because I'm like, I can't. You can't even have a conversation.
I think it's really hard because I find myself jumping into these places where I want to respond to somebody, or even where I realize like myself where I'm like, I want to post something facetious and I have to like check myself. And this is why I'm glad this season that we had like the episode with Erica Gabriel and we had Aaron Abke, where I hope people really listen to those messages. And I find myself re-listening to some of those episodes sometimes and really being like, okay, let me, first of all, ask yourself, what the fuck are you hoping to accomplish with posting some of this shit?
100%.
So many
and that's
people
why I
are going
apologize. I did
into
feel
it.
bad. I did start it with the hillbilly. Okay. I'm not going to say I didn't start it, but I also didn't attack your physical appearance.
Yeah.
I didn't like, you have 4 kids by 4 different guys. I didn't go there, but apparently I fuck for money. So
my thing is, it's like I go back to 4 years ago when Trump first won, and all the people that voted for him were like, well, let's see what he does first. Let's let him, bring something to the plate before we judge him being elected as president. And so that's kind of where I am like, let's recalibrate and let's bring that sentiment back. And let's, before you think that cops are going to show up at your door and take your guns, like, why don't you chill for a sec and realize that, like, That's very unlikely to happen. Like the president can't just show up to the podium one day and be like,
They're not a
"That's
king.
it. I like all
Right.
guns are gone." Like we have to realize how the laws work in our country, where a lot of it isn't so much like, if anything, the president is more of just a figurehead. You saw how many executive orders Donald Trump tried to put into place within the past 4 years that didn't really come to fruition. I mean, most recently, the one that he had was where he wanted to give people the extra $300 for unemployment. And then you saw so many governors like Gavin Newsom who rejected that. And that was an executive order that he signed. So we have to realize the real power comes within the state governors. It's the state officials that make up the laws within our country. And that's why you have so many different laws depending on which state that you live in, when it comes to gun laws, when it comes to abortion laws. Like all of it is not regulated necessarily by the Senate or Congress or the president. Yes, they can make decisions. That's why where people are also just like, oh, well, Joe Biden's going to come in and give a national mask mandate. Even that, the president doesn't have that kind of absolute power. No. We still, as citizens, have the power to go and vote for certain things and vote for certain people. And so we need to understand our power and then realize how laws actually work,
But also the last 4 years, he spoke like he did have all that power. Do you know what I mean? Like he kind of took, and so I think that people are still stuck in that like vibe. And it's like, no, just because your president talked like that doesn't mean that that's like really how it is. Like he's a fucking businessman. He's a schmoozer. Like that's what he does. It's just like fucking
he's a reality star. That's how he knows how to gain attention. Yeah,
exactly.
Shoots the shit, talks bigger. That's where I really kind of realized it was in watching that documentary. He's always been this type of person to bully journalists, embellish and use these big grand hyperbolic terms. He doesn't speak.
Well, you see Paris welcomed us back. Paris was like, welcome back, United States.
We're no longer going to be the Tiger Kings of the world.
Thank God. I can't handle any more Tiger King.
I know. How are you feeling going into 2021?
I'm comfortable in the fact that I think things are so far along, and I don't think anyone's going to let that slide or let that not succeed, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
But I'm also like very concerned because I'm concerned that there's 70 million Americans, like you said, who support him. And so I just don't know what to expect, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
In the long run, like I don't know what to expect with that. And I'm not saying there's 70 million racists. I'm saying there's 70 million people who thought that was the downfalls of Trump's stances were worth voting for.
They thought that he was the answer to fix the solution. Because, like, let's be clear, our country has never been this divided. And it's not because of, like, it comes from the top down. The fish rots from the head. You know what I mean? This comes from the lack of leadership that we've had in our country. Look, I'm the type of person that always gives credit where credit is due. And I'm not going to say Donald Trump didn't get certain things accomplished within our country. I'm not saying that him trying to take credit for the stocks doing really well and our economy being in a good place. I think Kamala Harris had a really good point when she said that we should measure the success of our economy by the average American versus the stock market. I agree with that sentiment as well. I think he deserves credit in certain areas for what he was able to accomplish within his 4 years. However, you have to look at the state that our country is in. Like, this didn't just happen without the influence of somebody that could have united us.
Right. 100%. I couldn't have said it better myself.
Thanks. So
of course. How are you feeling? Are you feeling ready? I'm ready for the year to fucking be over, though.
I'm ready for the year to fucking be over. I think my approach to 2021 was kind of my approach to the election, and that's that, like, I'm not going to allow this to destroy me one way or the other. Right. I'm a strong, resilient person. Whatever the outcome may be, I will roll with it, and I will continue to show up how I've always showed up in the world. And, whether Trump, like, I was already preparing myself for if Trump won again, and I'm be like, I'm not going to go crazy over this. This happened 4 years ago. We made it through the last 4 years. We can make it through another 4 years, but at least, we know to keep holding him accountable. I feel, I have a little sense of ease that we have Joe Biden. as the president now. I don't agree with all of, some of the things that he said or his policies, but again, you're never going to find a president that's going to be perfect, and part of my role as a citizen in this country is to continue to hold people accountable. I've now learned that,
Right.
we have governors and mayors that we need to hold accountable. I don't love the Los Angeles mayor or the California governor. I think I've learned a lot about them this year, that I have more of an issue with them than I do with the president. So I'm going to continue to push my activism in doing what I can do within, my local community.
100%. You gonna run ever?
Oh, I don't think so. I don't think anybody would ever vote for me. I make way too many dick jokes.
Zach Peter, mayor of LA.
That would be the day. I mean, really, though. But I mean, if Donald Trump can do it, if Arnold Schwarzenegger can make it,
I can see it now.
I feel like the bar in California
Don't ever
isn't
say
that low.
never. Yeah, no, never say never. 100%.
What about you? Is
100%.
politics in your future?
I don't think so, because I think people dig up too much from my past that I don't need people knowing.
There are too many nudes out there. It's not going to be a cute.
There's just too many things going on behind the scenes there. But I agree with you, and I think this year I've definitely been more involved in politics than I ever have, and I enjoy it, and I enjoy learning about it, and just like dissecting it and disagreeing and agreeing and thinking of other approaches. I think is really like a great thing for the mind too, to actually like make yourself think of alternatives or what you're looking for. But no, I don't think any office is for me. I used to want to be president. That's what I would write on all my papers. I want to be the first female president.
I think
I don't know what the fuck I was thinking.
I think if anything, politics really is a nice mirror for you to hold up in front of you to be like, what are my values? What are my priorities? You know what I mean?
Right.
There's this perception, I think, from both sides, for people that like to stand on one side or the other. There's this perception that like the people that don't agree with me are dumb and they don't know what they're talking about, or they're sheep. Yeah. And it's like, we have to give people some credit, especially right now, to be like, well, if somebody disagrees with me, that doesn't mean that they know any less than me. That just means that their value system or the things that they prioritize in their life happen to be different from mine. You know what I mean? That doesn't make them a bad person. It just means they're, maybe their moral compass is a little different than mine, and their values are definitely not in alignment with my values. But again, it doesn't make them a bad person, an ignorant person, or a stupid person. It just makes them somebody that views life very differently than I do, and prioritizes things very differently than I do. Like a lot of, you look at a lot of Republicans, and they prioritize, the Second Amendment and their right to bear arms. And to them, that's a priority. That provides a level of security and safety for them. And I can't say that I may not agree with that, but that doesn't make them arrogant, stupid people. It just makes them somebody that has very different values. And so it's interesting to see how close of an election we had, and how it was almost a 50-50 split. There wasn't a landslide, which was kind of crazy, but I
know.
It says a lot about where we are as a country, though. I think we have to really take inventory of that and realize okay, this is where we're at. We need.
Right. And where do we want to go?
Exactly. And where do we want to go?
We want to go.
And what are we going to do? It's interesting. I even had a bunch of conversations the other night. There was a group of individuals that I was talking politics with, and they all were very hypercritical of the election and of the candidates that were up for election. And then only to find out that most of the people that were having this discussion didn't vote. And for me...
Oh, if you didn't vote, shut your fucking mouth. Shut it. I don't want to hear shit if you didn't vote. Sorry.
Yes, as an American, you have the right to not vote. You have that right. However, I don't want to hear you give me your opinion about politics if you're not willing to actively participate in the system. You don't have, in my head, I don't give a shit about what your opinion is, because if you're not willing to act on it, then, you talk a big game and you say you have a big dick, and in reality, it's really small. Okay? Don't talk a big game if you're not willing to actually play.
Yeah, you have a right to not vote, but you also can't complain. Keep your fucking mouth shut if you That's
then I don't care.
100%
Yeah, then
agree with that.
I don't think your opinion is all that valid in my mind because you chose to not act on it. And I get it. Maybe you think that the two-party system doesn't work for you. I don't think it works for me.
Still is one.
Yeah, there's still
that's what it is.
There, and you're still here. And the reality is the two-party system is probably going to be around for majority of your lifetime. So you either can continue to bitch about it or you can continue to do something about it. But like, I don't want to hear you bitching if you're not willing to put your money where your mouth is.
Agreed. Say more. Tell me. I fully agree with that. I think it's going to be interesting. I think we're still in for a show till the end of the year. We'll see what happens, but I'm confident it will work out the way it should. Hopefully.
The way it should, yeah. I'm not attached to any end results. However the cards fall for me, I will play my hand to the best of my ability. That's my approach.
And that's all you can do. That's all you can do. I agree.
Well, I'm excited about what we have to come on this show, at least. We have some good guests coming up.
Yes! The next 2 episodes are about to be so good.
Yes, we have Vani Hari, the food babe. I'm excited to pick her brain. We have Jillian Michaels, fitness guru, who's coming back on the show.
Fitness guru, yes.
We have Hannah Berner from Bravo's Summer House that's going to be coming on the show next month. So get
oh my God,
ready.
That's right. Yes.
We have a lot of good guests. We're going to finish this season strong.
Finish it spicy.
Would you ever interview Donald Trump on this show?
100%.
You would?
I would love it.
I would too. I don't think there's any person that I wouldn't interview.
No, I don't think there's anyone I would. I would never say, well, that's a lie because we say no to people all the time.
We do say no to people all the time, but I mean, for a good reason.
I would just say that like even if I disagree like full-heartedly 100% with someone, I think there's always something you can learn about even the way they think that I find fascinating.
Agreed.
But I don't know. I'm excited. I'm ready to go.
Woo, woo. On that note,
should we call it a day?
I think we should call it a day. Call it a night. Enjoy some drinks or some chamomile tea, whatever is going to soothe your soul tonight.
That's right. I'm going to go get an espresso, actually.
I just ate like 8 dark chocolate covered espresso beans, and I'm like fired up.
Are you wired? Oh, but they really do. I feel like that affects me more than coffee, honestly.
It's hitting me. I'm
like
wide awake.
Cracked out.
All right. Thank you guys for listening to the Adulting Podcast. We love adulting with you. Be sure to follow us at the Adulting Podcast and go to theadultingpodcast.com to find out all the platforms that we're available on. You can watch full episodes on the website. You can listen to the show on the website. Everything's there. We make it very easy and accessible for you. So follow us at the Adulting Podcast.
One-stop shop.
I realized it was really stupid of us to launch a giveaway the week of the election because nobody pays attention to anything but the election. So we're going to extend the giveaway through the rest of the week.
I have my product placement.
I love it. I washed my hair with the Nomad Transcend shampoo and conditioner. Good. It's just so soft. And I did the CBD serum, the Transcend serum, which is so yummy for your hair. So if you guys want to enter to win over $200 of free hair care products, we have products from Olaplex and products from Nomad Hair Care. Super good, super healthy, especially now that we're going into winter and it's really, really cold and your hair's looking dry and your hair, not your hair, but like
actually, it's probably looking greasy today. It's looking moist.
I love it. Well, if you guys want to enter to win, you can go to at the Adulting Podcast right now. You can still enter to win by going and commenting and leaving a review on iTunes for this show because we like all of that validation, and we will pick a winner later this week on our Instagram account. So you're going to want to make sure you're following us. All right. All right. You can follow me at Just Plain Zack if you want to keep up with me and all my cute selfies.
His selfies are really cute. You guys can follow me at Abigail_AF if you want to keep up with me and my dog, because that's like all I've been posting lately.
Love it. Love it, love it, love it. All right, guys, until next time, we'll be
Hashtag adulting.